It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hi, Tokwe, how are you? How was your weekend?
It was very eventful weekend, very, very eventful, and I'm grateful to God. But I feel very proud to be a Nigerian. I feel very proud to be a Nigerian youth at this time. There is a whole lot of organization, high-level organization. I most importantly want to shout out to every young person cleaning up after the protest. It is very, very impressive to see how a place can look dirty and these are young people protesting would pick up the trash, clean up the entire place, provide healthcare, charge phones. It is very, very impressive to see the level of organization and determination in the young people. I feel proud being a Nigerian and being young at this moment. I applaud them and I pray that this fight will not lead to something else, and that the true desire of all of us is that we want peace and we want a good country, and that should be met.
You're right, Tokwe. I remember on Friday, the candlelight vigil. My God, I cried. I stood in my house, I took my phone, switched on the flashlight, and I just stood and I cried for the innocent lives that have been taken. I kept, tweeting and posting that this vigil is for the innocent lives that were taken by those who were meant to protect them. Right. I'm happy that, many times when we talk about things like this, we just name the names, they're just statistics and we move on. Numbers. But now we have pictures, we have stories, we can see the victims' family members telling us how they're still hurting years and months after this has happened. So, thank you.
Yeah, and one thing also that struck me with this is the fact that the money that was raised is being judicially spent, and we're actually seeing how it's being spent. And people are actually also, they're giving us reports, and I think it's the Feminist and Group Coalition. They're the ones that have been able to gather this money, and I'm just impressed about how organized they are. Have you gone to their website? You can see where the money is coming from, how it's been used, how it's spent, and what is left.
And the money raised for the amputee, there are two the amputees. For me, that was, that picture went viral and somebody said, let's set up a GoFundMe, and they raised funds to fix prosthetic legs for two amputees that were at the protest. This is the government.
I see integrity among the youth. I see accountability. We've had stories of where your phones get lost in the protest ground, and before you realize it, they're announcing who has this phone, who has this credit card, and all of that. So the youths are actually showing that, But aside from that, yesterday was my wedding anniversary. Some good news, please. Just a little good news.
How was that? What did you guys do?
It was good. We went to Chinese. Just had time with family. I went with the kids as well, and we all just had very quiet. See, it wasn't time. 12 years. It wasn't time for so much celebration because of everything that was happening, and it was messing with our heads as well. So we just said, please, let's just go and eat quietly.
That's
nice. Just to be grateful.
Oh yes. So we got a message. I got a message. Someone said to me that her daughter, every time she sits at the dining now, holds her cup this way. So a lot of you would have noticed that we tend to do this. We hold our cups here and put our hand over it. The studio is very cold.
Chilling.
And for those of you abroad, it's like winter in the studio. Yeah. So this is our way of keeping our hands warm. So please, when your daughter sits at the dining table and she's doing that, say, no, daughter, this is because it's cold there. It's not cold. This is not a studio. This is not a dining table, So it's different at the dining table and different at the studio.
I'm constantly drinking mine, so I have mine like this.
Yes, why is Maria always drinking? Why is Maria always drinking? Well, I think that people have gotten used to the fact that Maria is always drinking the tea.
Anyways, I have to say happy birthday. Yesterday was Mrs. Eniola Williams' birthday. Yay! She's our mother-in-law, my husband's brother's wife's mom.
That is family. In Yoruba, all of us are family.
She's like mother-in-law. Happy birthday, ma.
Happy birthday, ma.
God bless you. Many more years to you.
God bless you.
Okay, it's Monday. There's so much going on. The protesters are still out there. And we're going to be talking to some of them. And we're hearing news also in the papers. We're going to review all the latest news concerning the protest very soon. But first, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, we're going to start with The Nation. Protesters halt activities in Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan. Buhari meets Lawan and Gbajabiamila. Benin under total lockdown. Blockade in Agodi, Ibadan. Audit report indicts 265 federal agencies on 9.7 billion naira unaccounted fund. Businesses lose 10 billion naira a day to hashtag End Sars protest, says experts. Petrol Union, 2.556 billion euros, pounds, case for Supreme Court hearing. And firm records 57 COVID-19 cases in Ibadan.
Yeah,
okay, which story are we taking?
Firms.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so a firm in Ibadan, Oyo State, has recorded 57 COVID-19 cases. That was amongst the 72 cases that was announced in the state. So the task force for COVID-19 announced the numbers, and they're also appealing to people to ensure that they avoid large crowds, saying that COVID-19 hasn't ended yet. So we all need to be careful and follow all the protocols and guidelines in order to secure ourselves. But they're saying that there's no cause for alarm, that this actually happened in a particular company, right, and they're trying to work on it.
So former Executive Director, Keystone Bank, Richard Obiri, you have that story.
Yes, I got it, yes. So he's just saying that the protest is causing our country about 10 billion naira every day. You know, every day we're on the road, we're blocking major roads across the country, toll gates and things like that. It's costing us. But then, you know, there are different points of view. Some people say that this is something that is temporary, for a short term, which may lead, depending on how the government handles this protest, may lead to better foreign investments and, you know, better for our economy. So basically that it is. There's also a story that talks about how much money that's been lost at the Lagos toll gate as well. And so, but everybody is thinking that once the protest is done, these demands are met, is really for the good of our economy generally. Yeah. Once it's done,
during COVID-19, we're forced to be locked down, you know, so at that point still, and we kind of survived. But, okay, moving on to Vanguard. Hashtag NSA stop Army's planned Operation Crocodile Smile. Mixed performance trails national housing delivery. NECO reschedules examination. $1.5 billion plant. Nigeria will soon stop importing steel. Governors meet are committed to wholesale, not just police reform. Christian elders threaten to sue federal government over alleged ethnic cleansing. Salami trying to indict our clients at all costs. Magu's lawyer cries out. And Reps Gazette Water Resources Bill for reintroduction. Okay, so Operation Crocodile Smile is being launched. Well, they do it every year, and they say they're going to be starting this year's own. Who has the story?
Yes, I have the story. So, but a coalition of civil society organizations yesterday were calling on the federal government to stop that operation, saying that this is not the right time. Everywhere is sensitive. We have protesters on the road, and the world is actually watching to see how you're going to legitimately answer the protesters. By you releasing the army, they should right now mind the barracks, because we cannot guarantee what would happen when they come out on the streets. And
it's to exacerbate the trust of distrust, actually, of protesters. They feel already that the government is on their side. So if you now do this, you're making it worse. So it's ill-timed and needs to be rethought.
Okay, I got the NECO story. So NECO has rescheduled a particular paper. It's the paper 1 Computer Studies Practical, which was fixed for, I think it was fixed for Monday. But because of the protest, of course, they have to move the time and the day. And also they said that there's a truck that was supposed to take these papers to a particular point or a particular state has been in traffic because of this protest. So, you know, there's this conversation where a lot of people are saying, yes, we understand the protest, but can we have it in such a way that at least essential services are able to you know, pass through. So.
Okay, moving on to Daily Trust now. Hashtag NSAS, too much anger, hunger in the land, says governors. Protests can hurt economy, should stop now, says Lawan. Those in the streets against government, not anti-SARS anymore. And Aisha Buhari unveils hashtag Arewa Mufarka.
Arewa Mufarka.
Okay, Arewa Mufarka against insecurity. Thank you. 82-year-old Kufar Wambai Teneri struggles against modern tide. Minister hopeful. $1.5 billion Kaduna plans will end steel importation. IGP lists qualifications of SWAT personnel as training begins today. And FG begins right of way for $7.2 billion Kano Makadi Ibadan Rail going forward. All right, so let's start with the
in Benin
story.
City, yes, they had 4 protesters who were killed by accident. So they were actually on the major roads setting up a bonfire where when an SUV just rammed into 4 of them. And then the youths were really upset. They started destroying things and all of that. But they have been cooking on that major road leading to that Edo, Bini, leading to Agbo and other south places. So they've been obstructing movements for people who are traveling to other south states. And those that are decided to now start taking the bush paths have to pay fines of about 100 naira or 200 naira before they pass. I have to appeal to the youths. I know that we need this to be done, but cooking on the highways really is not the way to go about it. Because at the end of the day, you may end up leaving potholes, destroying the roads as well. So I think we should
Which isn't what we want.
Yeah, that's not what we
So
want.
Yesterday, federal government has begun the right-of-way purchase for Kano, Maradi, Ibadan, Kano rails. So the Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, was inspecting the Lagos-Ibadan standard rail, and he mentioned that while this is almost done, the Kano Maradi way, they are already paying for the right-of-way purchase, so we're expecting that will be done. He said even though they haven't gotten the loan for funding it, the engineers are already executing, fast-tracking contractors to do front engineering even now before loan starts. So the railway would reduce burden. For many people that are complaining like me that the road is too busy, we are hoping that as the railway gets done, we would have ease of traffic.
So let me take the Aisha Buhari story. So she's used her Twitter handle over the weekend, to campaign against insecurity and banditry in Nigeria, especially in the north. Ariwa Mufarka is the north, wake up, or not, let's wake up. And that was on Sunday, and on Saturday she also tweeted Achechi Jama'a, meaning save the people or rescue the people, and really is just her adding her voice to the call for help in the north, the continuous killing, the continuous ransacking of communities and villages. Of course, when you make a social media thing like that, being the wife of the president, there will be different opinions. Some people are saying, thank you for getting on this campaign and adding your voice to it. And other people say, you are right there with the #1 man. I think it should be more a one-on-one conversation than being on...
You can almost predict that she's probably tried, especially to talk to the president on some of these things, and maybe she's not getting through. So sometimes...
You know that Aisha Buhari is the sort that this is not the first time she said things, and we're wondering, are you not with him at home? Why are we here,
No, I guess we just make these assumptions. Maybe they're not together all the time. Okay, let's move on to Daily Sun, our panel paper this morning. Protesters plan total... I could take another paper if you want me to, if we have time. Protesters plan total lockdown today. Let's find a story we've not taken. FG sets timeline to end importation of steel. Nigerian doctor finds solution to excessive bleeding during childbirth. Serap goes to court, seeks cuts in salaries, allowances of Buhari and National Assembly. Masop urges Obiano to raise another panel to probe Ezu River killing. Okay, I have the story concerning this doctor. Let me get his name.
Chidi Esike.
Oh, you have that story?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, a medical doctor in Nigeria, Chidi Esike of Alex Ekweme Federal University of Teaching Hospital, Abakaleke, Ebonyi State, has found a new way to save lives. So usually when women hemorrhage after birth, they remove the womb or it causes death. Okay. But now he's found a solution that would make women keep their womb and still not lead to death. The statistics are gory. 1 in 35 women in Nigeria die based on maternal causes. And also, they said we lose 512 maternal women per every 100,000 births. So the rate of maternal mortality is very, very high. So in conforming with the SGD goal, this is a welcome development, and the minister is really happy about it. So
quickly.
Yes, Marcel, yes, we have.
Yes, so the movement for the actualization of the sovereign states of Biafra, MASOB, is urging the Anambra State Governor, WALE Ogunadeji, to seize the opportunity of the SARS to investigate the murder of 9 IPOB members who were killed, according to the story, by SARS, and they threw their body into Izu River. And I think about 9 of the bodies floated. They set up an inquiry. This happened in 2013. They set up an inquiry, but there was no headway about it. So he's saying, use this opportunity to, set up another panel to investigate what actually happened and how those 9 young men were killed.
These things have happened, though.
Many
Sometimes
things have happened.
When you hear these stories, you kind of understand what these people are doing on the streets.
Things have happened.
You know, we swept a lot of things under the carpet.
Yes, we've accepted some things as norm. Even.
Yeah.
People have died and just moved on. You know, and this has opened so many wounds.
Yeah. That
So
Chijoke
true.
story.
And we all need to heal.
Yeah, that Chijoke story especially. I remember I took that story on the particular, from that newspaper that particular day, where they asked the father to swim through the pond of bodies and turn the bodies around to look for his son.
Really sad. NLC quickly, NLC writes the president to reject airport concession, and I think this is something we should push for. The federal government is considering giving concession concerning 4 the most lucrative airports we have, and NLC is saying that offer something else. Don't just concession it all because it won't bring development. Consider what South Africa did, which is to bring in investors to do specific expansion within the airports and then make money via concession to recoup, or sell out 55% of FAN, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, and then let the 55% be owned by many other people, raise funds, and then bring in, make it a corporation that is privately run, but owned by 45% owned by Nigeria. And I think that the government and Nigerians can add their voice to what NLC is doing concerning this.
All right. On that note, we end front page review. When we come back, we discuss the. Right. On that note, we end front page review. When we come back, we discuss the only topic Nigerians are talking about. Hashtag #EndSARS. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, for almost a week now, Nigerians have taken over the social media and the streets to aggressively protest over the activities of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. However, reports has it that violence and fatality happened over the weekend, most especially in Edo, Lagos, and Osun states. We have with us TOLUWALASE OLANIYAN, who is an EndSARS protester. Welcome, Tolu. Good to have you on the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Mariah.
Yes, Tolu.
Nice to be here.
Today is the 13th day, obviously, of the protest, and it seems that the young people are not relenting. In your view, do you believe that it's time for conversation, or do you think that the young people should remain on the streets?
Okay, so thank you so much, Mariah, for this question. I'm very honest with you. I think it's still fine that we remain on the streets, right? So from us not having a conversation yet and just have like conversations in the air, a couple of things have been done. I think we need to press it a bit further. We need to press it a bit more and put the pressure on the authorities a bit more before we even jump where our panels are being set up and young people being on those panels. Not until we see that things are being implemented. I mean, the best thing for us is to be on to still be on the streets.
Okay.
Okay, so while I understand the need to be on the street, I'm wondering, is it possible, you know, because the worry has been that there's major blockage, there are interceptions everywhere, it's causing major gridlock, and other people who empathize with the protest, who still have to carry out their business activities, are stuck in traffic. Schools that are supposed to resume, public schools are supposed to resume today properly are now unable to resume. Students can't get to school because the roads are blocked. And then we're having issues of essential services can't get to the hospitals. Emergencies cannot pass through because the roads are blocked. Do you think there's another way you can still hold your protest without blocking the roads?
Yes, so for emergencies, right, pathways are always made for emergencies. And now this is the honest truth, right? I must be honest with you. COVID, the police and the brutality in the country has killed more people than COVID. And at about that time when there was COVID, there was a total lockdown. I mean, Third Mainland is also blocked. A lot of things have happened, that roads are blocked. There are always alternative routes that people can go through. So the whole of Lagos is not shut down, or a lot of communities are not shut down because of EndSARS. There are alternative routes. So we'll please plead with people who want to access places to please use alternative routes while these roads are being blocked. I mean, I'm sorry to say, a lot of attention have been drawn to this because the roads have been blocked. It is quite tricky and tough to say, let us not block the roads, let us leave the roads. It will just be like, mad dog bark again if we say, let's leave it open, let's normal activity continue.
Right.
No, nobody cares about the traffic that Third Mainland caused. Is still causing.
Right.
Most of these people do events and they block most of the roads.
Right.
So this is for a just cause. Please bear with us. Please bear with us.
There's, the fears and concerns now. People hear stories of, some groups of people are trying to hijack the protest. We have people who were caught stealing. We have people who say they were attacked by protesters, and some people say they're not really protesters. They were just, thugs. How do you ensure that you're not infiltrated by these people while still protesting? Because a lot of us feel the longer you stay on the streets, the harder it is to protect this protest from the bad, the elements that may infiltrate it.
Amazing. I'm sure you must be aware of the fact that so the coalitions have also made room for private security. And the joy for me, particularly on this protest, because we all now look out for each other. So number one, no protester will attack anybody. Number two, even the protesters are securing and ensuring that nothing wrong goes, who are behaving in ways that do not, that do not agree with the protest. Averagely, there's been peace around all of the protest ground, except in Osun, where we had, there were like unscrupulous elements. And I'm sure that, even the people who are handling it at those locations are looking into it already. I know that the longer we stay on the streets, the tougher it might be to handle unscrupulous elements. But it's joy, because even the protesters are finding better ways to handle all of this. You'll be shocked to know that things that have not escalated in Lagos. Right, I'm sure you'll be shocked to know things have not escalated in Lagos, and that's because we're all looking out for each other.
Right.
We're all putting our hands together to be safe, because we don't want to lose anybody anymore.
Right.
We don't want to lose anybody anymore. So we're all putting our hands together to ensure that, hey, safety first, safety first.
Okay.
All right. So I know that the protesters do not want to have like a form of leadership because they don't want anybody compromised. But has it come to that point where we should be giving timelines? Because some of these policies and whatever it is that the government has agreed to do would definitely take a little time. So shouldn't we be coming out with timelines when we want the prosecutions to have been done, or timelines when we want this to have been done and all of that, than just leaving it, blanket air?
Okay, so now that we have the ears of the government, it's amazing. Right? Now we have the ears of the government. It's interesting. So, one of them set up an independent to oversee all of this and ensure that prosecution is.
Tolu, I'd like you to take that again. We didn't hear anything you said, please.
We will have to come up with another mandate and say, hey, see, all of this that we have said. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah. So I'm saying that it's good now. So I'm saying it's amazing now that we have the ears of the government. Right. Now we would now start to put timelines. Yeah. Now that we have the ears of the government. And before now, it seemed like we're just talking into the air. But now that it looks like, oh, yes, we're having the ears of the government, someone is listening to us, we can then put timelines around all of these things. And as the timelines elapse and we don't see things happen, we see more reason to stay. But as the timeline elapses and we see that, oh, these things have been done, we would then have a reason to say, oh, okay, let's take a chill pill around all of this. I think it's about that time. Now that we have the ears of the government, we're having conversation. Right. Yes, we will start gradually moving towards timelines.
Okay, so when you say you have conversations, many people are still worried that there's really no conversation going on because we've heard from the VP. He's spoken. He's tried to appeal to the protesters. The Senate President has spoken. Even the governors have spoken, especially Lagos State. They've all appealed to the protesters to sheath their sword and go back and give the government time. So you are saying that we can engage now, but how come people are still on the streets if we're ready to have conversations?
So they've been appealing all along, and okay, so from this point of view, right, it's not just about appeal. So there's a 5-for-5 demand, right? Let's have this 5-for-5 demand go far a bit. So the first thing is to release everybody that have been detained. Now, some people are still being detained as we speak. So it means that number one of the 5-for-5 is has not been accomplished. Number two is justice for all deceased. It won't cost the government so much to compensate and give justice to these people. Let us see publicly line up, publicly arraign those people who did this havoc, who wreaked this havoc. Let us see them in person. Let us see what's happening to them. This will serve as a deterrent to other police officers. A police officer would not be able to tell a citizen who is not a dog that I will shoot you and nothing will happen. Right? When we then see that, when we see that there's justice for these people, then that's number two. Now, but if you say, give us time to be able to do this, that is funny. So how long will it take you to fish out those policemen? It will cost you so much, right? All you need is just the will to do it. So do it and let us see. Let us see what you want to do. Number three is to set up independent committee. Set up those committees already. Let us know let us have young people in it and let them start work now. So if you're saying give us time to do it, when is the time? So we're on the street, do it as we are here now. You don't have to wait till forever. As we are here on the street, do it, let us see. Give us a reason to go back into our spaces. Right?
So I understand.
All of this. So none of the 5-for-5 have been fully implemented.
Right.
And I mean, so the plea is just an emotional plea, right?
Wow.
We have fought the emotional fight for way too long. This is not the first time we're hearing that they are disbanding Sars.
All right, let me just throw in one question for you.
Toluwalase, a minute, please. When you say we will now, there's no leader. Who is the we? Because who will now decide, let's go back home? You are in Lagos, some people are in Abuja, some people are in Edo State, cooking on the main road, blocking the major highway. There are some people that are fighting in Anambra State, in Ebonyi State. Who is the we that will now say it's time to go? Who would we listen to? Who would the people on the street listen to?
So this protest is self-leadership, right? When I see that the 5-for-5 that I agree with have been implemented, I will go to my own house and and say, oh, I am done protesting. Same with every young person who sees things in the same light. So there's a 5-for-5 that have been published, and we all, in all honesty, every young person individually accept to this. So there's no one leader that says, oh, now the battle is over, let's go back home. Everybody will see it. Young people are not mad people. They understand what they want. They know what they want. I, for one, will not go to the protest ground again if I see that these things are being implemented, the government is listening to us. I, for one, will not hit the streets again. And it's the same thing for every young person. I'm hopeful it's the same for every young person, right? Yeah, so it's self-leadership. Yeah, it's self-leadership. Right. Once the government begins to respond to us, yes, we gradually, individually, we'll start to go back home.
Okay.
So,
remember that nobody was called. Nobody called anybody and said, come to protest.
Right, gotcha.
Toluwalase, the problem with this is that other people are coming up with another 7 by 7 or 7/7 demands. And there are different demands coming out from different quarters. Now, some people feel that the 5-for-5 has been attended to, other people might start feeling that the 7-to-7 has not been attended to. So how do you bring it together for everyone to listen?
Okay, so again, all of this, even the 5-for-5, the 7-for-7, they're all tied together, in all honesty. They're all tied together. Once we see, and to be very honest with you, one thing that young people need from the government is the willingness and the ear to say, hey, we are listening to you. So once you even start to do the one of the 5-for-5, do well, 1 or 2 or 5-for-5, which ties into parts of the 7 for 7, people will start to calm down. Like, people will start to calm down. It is not so difficult. I mean, so that small boy was telling his mom, "Mommy, calm down." Like, we will calm down. It's not that difficult.
All right.
It's not so
Thank you very much, TOLUWALASE. I think you've made your voice loud and clear this morning. I think our leaders have listened. Thank you very much for joining us. We've been speaking with TOLUWALASE Olaniyan, who is a major protester, #protester in Lagos here. We're going to go on a break now. When we come back, we move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, ISMAIL OMIPIDAN. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Morayo, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. So we read in the papers the reports, obviously, about the attack on the Governor of Osun State. And we also read in the paper saying that the commando style that was used in that operation showed obviously that it wasn't the youth, the protesters, that was probably premeditated. Could you tell us more about it and what exactly happened to the governor?
Thank you very much once again. On Saturday, we came in from Lagos. Don't forget, the protests have been on in most states. It's been hard before then. So I was just going through my timeline on the Facebook when I stumbled on the video where one of the known faces of the protesters by name Ayo Ologun was addressing the protesters and saying that they want Mr. Governor to come and address them. Shortly after then, by around 2:30, I got on phone with the same man, and I did ask him, what assurance do we have that hoodlums are not around you there? Because before then, we have had reports of shooting at the state secretariat and at some major points in town. And he did say, and I quote, "Hold me responsible if anything untoward happened to your principal." Okay. After that conversation, we set out to leave for the venue of the protest. When we got to Alekuwodo, Ayo Ologun and a few known faces of the protesters came and told Mr. Governor that he had to come down from his vehicle so that together we trekked to the venue of the protest, which was about 4 kilometers or so. We did, as he said. In fairness to Ayo Ologun, he tried, to live up to the promise he made.
Right.
And Mr. Governor got to the venue of the protest. We sang a solidarity song to the venue of the protest. And when we got in there, Bakari, who is an associate of Sowore, was the one who started by addressing the protesters. And he started by saying that Mr. Governor should apologize for coming late to the venue of the protest. Mr. Governor apologized. He said Mr. Governor should do it about 10 times or thereabouts. Mr. Governor did. Then he listed all the demands that were known. But surprisingly, he introduced a demand that was never known to the Sars protest. And what was that demand? That Mr. Governor should scrap OES scheme. For the benefit of viewers, OES scheme is one scheme that has helped greatly to take out unemployed youths off the streets. So if somebody who purportedly fighting for the future of the youth is now calling for the scrapping of OES scheme, you agree with me that there appear to be more to it. But in spite of that, Mr. Governor kept his cool and was addressing to the questions one after the other.
Right.
Suddenly, they started throwing stones you know, people came out with cutlasses, and
Wow.
the next thing for us was to evacuate Mr. Governor. And thankfully, all the videos of all that transpired are already in the public space.
Right.
For the likes of Showe and Co, who are claiming that it was the governor's convoy that killed the protesters, I am sure from the video, you will see how at some point they blocked Mr. Governor's vehicle from even leaving the venue. And we just tried to maneuver without hurting anybody.
Okay. All right.
And if you see some of the videos, you will notice that apparently some miscreants and hoodlums had infiltrated the protest, because you will see somebody holding cutlass.
Right. Right.
So we saw.
Okay. Let me pause you for a second. Let's get a few
We
questions.
saw
for
what
you.
the car looked like after. It was badly damaged. We saw what the vehicle looked like after it was badly damaged. And we also, from what I read in the papers, that the governor was escorted back into the vehicle before it happened. I also have, according to what was released to the papers, that the person that died before the governor came. It was an Okada accident about 12 before the governor came. And the governor has already said that he believes it's not the protesters. But what you're saying now is that, are you saying that there were inciting statements from the side of those protesting? Because that's what your account is insinuating. And how do you intend to ensure that those peacefully protesting do not get harmed in any way based on what happened 2 days ago?
Well, from the preliminary investigation, it was established that political thugs and hoodlums carried out the attack.
Okay.
And for one of the known faces of the protesters to go into politics, because when you say we should scrap OES, for me that is political. It no longer has anything to do with NSAS. Now, why not say that may be inciting, but the fact remains that the hoodlums and political thugs who carried out the attack may probably have been lurking around the protest ground. But one thing I must make very clear is that no gunshot was fired from Mr. Governor's security aides. Not even a canister, not even a tear gas was fired. We evacuated the governor successfully.
Okay.
Now, as at the last count, 2 persons died, but their death had nothing to do with the attack on Mr. Governor at the venue of the protest. And from the preliminary report of the police, one of those that so far been identified as one of those that died, one Mutiu Latif Oyebisi, they said that the point of entrance of pallet below the left ear loop. Now, police don't use a pallet. These are, you get pallets from weapons used by these Dane guns, and what have you. So clearly, you know that the death of these persons had nothing to do with what transpired at the place Mr. Governor.
Let me get a few more questions in for you before you run off.
All right, thank you, sir. We're happy that it ended, safely for the governor, and really sad for the situation, that caused the death. But we want to now concentrating on the reason why we have protesters out there right now and their demands. What exactly is the Osun State governor?
Hello?
What exactly is the Osun State governor? What has he put in place? What has he put in place to start?
What we are doing?
Yes, towards the 5-point demand that the protesters are asking for.
Yeah, as I speak to you, by later today, we'll be announcing the person that will chair the panel of inquiry. The first time we addressed the protesters, I think that was the one of the protests at the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park. We assured them that we're going to take their demand to the federal government, and the ones we can do amongst us within the state, within our past, we will do. And thereafter, we set machinery in motion to do the things we said we were going to do. So by later today, we will be naming the panel. And like Mr. Governor said, he believes strongly that the youth have their right to protest. but that they must not allow the protest to be hijacked by hoodlums. And let me quickly add that contrary to the claim by Sowore and his cohorts,
It's sad for the situation, you know, that caused the death. But we want to now concentrating on the reason why we have protesters out there right now and their demands. What exactly is the Osun State governor?
Hello?
What exactly is the Osun State governor? What has he put in place? What has he put in place to start?
What we are doing?
Yes, towards the 5-point demand that the protesters are asking for.
Yeah, as I speak to you, by later today, we will be announcing the person that will chair the panel of inquiry. The first time we addressed the protesters, I think that was the one of the protests at the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park. We assured them that we're going to take their demands to the federal government, and the ones who can do amongst us within the state, within our past, we will do. And thereafter, we set machinery in motion to do the things we said we were going to do.
Okay.
So by later today, we will be naming the panel.
Right.
And like Mr. Governor said, he believes strongly that the youth have their right to protest, but that they must not allow the protest to be hijacked by hoodlums. And let me quickly add that contrary to the claim by Sowore and his cohorts that his associate Bakari had been arrested, nobody, as I speak today, nobody has been arrested. Bakari may have just decided to take cover on his own. Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody has been arrested.
Let me just throw one final question for you. Go ahead, Bisi.
All right, sir. So we've had conspiracy theories from different quarters that all these political thugs are actually being sent by the government. But now, having this attack on Osun State governor, it's now obvious that it's not from him because he will not want to attack himself. But now, is there anything the governor is doing to ensure that they fish out those political thugs so that we know where they're coming from and prosecute them?
Yeah, already Mr. Governor has directed that the incident of Saturday be properly investigated, and that even the panel that will be setting up to look at all the previous abuses of Sars will also address the Saturday's attack. Don't also forget that most of the videos of the hoodlums carrying guns before Saturday attacks are also in the public space. And these are people that the security operatives can easily identify. Mr. Governor has also ordered that all those hoodlums that can be identified around the attack scene should be railing.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Finally.
So, please, the protesters have said that many of these protesters have informed the police that they are going to be protesting. They usually mention the venue of their protest. I saw online somebody was saying that it is not the job of protesters to ensure thugs don't take over the protest. It is the job of the police to ensure that thugs don't take over the protest because they can identify the criminals better than the protesters. So what is the governor doing to ensure that they protect the protesters while keeping thugs out of the protest?
The governor has given directive to the police, the state commissioner of police, to ensure that the protesters are properly guided, and to ensure that hoodlums don't, take over the protest. But my appeal to the protesters is that they know these hoodlums amongst them. They know them. They should find a way of ensuring that they don't allow them to infiltrate their ranks. They should act the same way the protesters in Abuja acted, by sending Sowore out of their midst. Because the truth is that from the tweets Sowore is tweeting, you agree with me that he has other motives other than the Sars protest. Really? Unfortunately, too, one of his associates is among the known faces of the protest in Osun.
So if the government is aware...
you keep talking about Sowore, and it's almost like a personal vendetta against him. He's a citizen of this country, and he's entitled to his own expression. So why does it seem like your government is completely against him? And let me
just add, and if you do have enough evidence that he may be involved in something that's untoward, can he be invited and investigated properly?
Well, if you go to his tweet, the attack on Saturday, for example, I escaped to the DSS headquarters. I got to the DSS headquarters around 5 minutes past 4. I said my prayers, after saying my prayers, that was when I announced to the public that Mr. Governor was attacked. That was about 4:28. But Sore's first tweet on the purportedly dead protester came on 4:21 p.m. Now, before then, as early as 9:37 a.m. of that day, he's been, on the matter. So the way he's acting and the way his associates here in Osun is acting, it gives the impression that they probably have something else other than the NSAS protest.
Okay. We have to wrap up at that point. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning.
We're happy the governor is fine.
And we're happy that the governor is safe. But we lost 2 lives too.
Yeah.
So our hearts go out to the families of those who lost their loved ones. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We've been speaking with the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, ISMAIL OMIPIDAN. Let's go on a break now. We'll come back and we'll continue with the show. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Welcome back. So, join us now on the show is a lawyer, human rights activist, police trainer, President Voters Awareness Initiative, WALE OGUNADE. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, my sister. How are you?
Very
good morning,
good.
Everybody there and all those who are watching.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So my question to you, my first question, obviously, we've seen this is the 13th day of the protest out there. We're hearing stories about the fact that the protesters are not ending. They are getting stronger. In your view as a police trainer, and how do you think they can better control the protesters and also protect them from hoodlums going forward?
No, I will not advise the police to go near the protesters now. As we normally say when we are when I was much younger, those protesters are already taken over by the spirit of Aluta. They are high. Any policeman who goes near them will cause more. They will not know that he's coming for peace or they are coming for peace. They will see them that they are coming to disturb them and they will turn the table against them and it will be violent. So let them just keep away from them. And for me, these boys have already sorted themselves out. I got to spoke with one of them a few seconds ago, and I had Sheon on another channel, that was Sheon Kuti on another channel yesterday. They have organized themselves, and anyone who goes near them will know that indeed they know what they are doing. They are organized, and anybody should not try to disturb them. Disturbing them will lead to mayhem, and I don't think anybody wants any loss of blood. Right. We've had enough loss of blood in this country.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I was involved. I was consulted by the United Nations in 2006 when I did a proposal because I knew that this thing will happen. I saw the youth, there was nobody taking care of them. For information, I crisscross Nigeria on a regular basis, by road particularly, and sometimes by air. And if anybody who is listening,
we're having a bit of glitch. Yes, internet glitch right there. We're trying to see if we can get
what you really will agree with. Because you see them coming out by 1 o'clock, you see them. There is no program for them, no provisions for them, and that's the result you saw that you are seeing now. And unfortunately, I saw it coming, and I wrote a proposal to the United Nations that indeed we have to train the police particularly for them to have their activities to have a human face because they were becoming so brutal. And don't forget there was a time in Lagos that the killing, particularly because of 20 naira and 50 naira in the roadblock was becoming so rampant. So we set up it, and of course, luckily the union gave me the proposal and I did some training for them. And we set up, after the training, we proposed that we have a human rights desk, and it started from Lagos. And there's no police station that does not have a human rights desk. And the idea is that they should interface with people with a human face, not that they will look at the instrument of the law and be brutal with them. But unfortunately, that did not. After some time, it went off, and nobody. Of course, I guess it was the time of Apovita and this other man, this Hausa man.
All right, let's get a few more questions in for you quickly.
So, Mr. Ogunade, as a police trainer, and since you have also been involved in training the Nigerian police, my question is, obviously there's a failure of the training. So we hear people say, we've seen videos where the police command is talking to fellow police officers and saying, don't you remember what we taught you in training college? One innocent life is more important than, and it's better to let an innocent person leave than when trying to get an armed robber. So in your quest of trying to get an armed robber, if an innocent life is a danger, so we hear people say, we've seen videos where the police command is talking to fellow police officers and saying, don't you remember what we taught you in training college? One innocent life is more important than, and it's better to let an innocent person leave than when trying to get an armed robber. So in your quest of trying to get an armed robber, if an innocent life is a danger, it's better to let that criminal leave. And so I'm saying, if they have this sort of training, what is the reason why, what's the reason that they are unable to maintain the trainings that they have when they are out on the streets? Secondly, the environment in which they do this training, we have seen videos. There's a particular video that is now trending, and it shows the horrible condition, the dehumanizing condition that these police officers have to go through. How can someone come from that condition, given a gun, and then expect the person to be okay?
Yeah. In 1999, when democracy just started, I knew that definitely there must be need for training of the police. I went to the police college. Well, I'm a lawyer again, and one day I was coming from the court. If you know Ikeja very well, you know that the court is in front of the police college, or the police college is in front of Ikeja High Court. I went in, I said I wanted to see the principal of the college. We discussed a lot, and I said, well, you know, I'm just a principal here, other comes from above, and so on and so forth, because we discussed extensively about the curriculum, even the college itself, the premises, and so on. But be that as it may, after some time, I left since there was no support. I went to Abuja because of it. The police high command was not interested. I now did the proposal I discussed about to you with the United Nations, and that flew. And of course, after that's training. Then for in between, when you know we'll have question and answer during such meetings. And during it, the police officers were saying, yes, okay, you have trained us, but we need things. We need to be well equipped. Our welfare, our future must be guaranteed. What if we die? We see our colleagues that die in the line of duty. Nothing happens to them. But unfortunately, I was given an assignment to train. And after that, I've tried to do one or two follow-up. But again, since the police authority refuses to improve the welfare, to some extent, during the training, we show them pictures of how the police operates in other countries of the world, particularly in Europe and America. They call them ijire in other parts of the world, if you know. They go in twos and they work. They have staff cars. Their welfare is taken care of. They have houses. Again, I'm involved in election activities. During elections, you see policemen, they are drafted for electoral duties. They sleep on the streets. They sleep inside the vehicle that brought them. That's no welfare. And such a person, his psychology is already against the system. So he will now take it against the people.
Okay. So brings me to something I've been saying on Twitter, that we might not be able to get the IGP to dismiss or sack police officers when they understand the condition where they're coming through. And some people are now saying, rather than us asking for dismissal of police officers, let's ask for the dismissal of the IGP. And you've already said that the young people have already gotten into the mindset of Aluta. And so anything coming to them, they'll just see it as, no, we don't agree. So what do you think that the police can do? What can the government do as like a white flag that will show that we're willing to give you something big to ensure you calm down and go and rest? What would you recommend?
I'm a problem solver. Maybe that's my work and that's what I do. Simple, for them to get off the streets. You see, the young man that you spoke with, you interviewed some few seconds ago, said they want to see what government will do, not statement of intention. And to me, what stopped Buhari from calling Emefiele, the governor of Central Bank, and say, yeah, credit each account of all the youths in Nigeria with 100,000 naira. You, Minister of Works, go to set up your offices all over Nigeria throughout the 774 local government, set up a desk and let people begin to register. As soon as they register, automatically they are employed. The next week they are given 100,000 again. They will be given average of 200,000 naira per month. These youths will leave the road. Why are you, there are several youths. If you go around, there are people around you working there. Why are they not on the street? Because they have something doing. As little as 50,000 naira, 20,000 naira can keep these people off the streets. They are not doing that, and they are still going rhetoric. Let me land. I'm a student of history. Let me land. It's doable. It's possible. It's doable.
But would it solve the police brutality
if anyone
problem?
Of you read history, there's somebody called Napoleon Bonaparte. That's what he did to quell the French Revolution. Okay. I hope I've made a sense. I've made something.
But we're talking about police brutality, sir. The reason people are protesting is not just because they are hungry. It's because they want to leave. Killed. Yeah. It's because they are being killed. Yeah. So the real core issue, yes, we are hungry is additional. But the real core reason is that people are being killed. So how do we solve that problem?
Okay. I'll let you answer that question after this quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest, human rights activist and police trainer, President Voters Awareness, Mr. Wale Omipidaan. Go ahead, sir.
All right, Mr. Wale. So I understand that when you train people, the training has to be done regularly so that it sticks. And what we hear is that the police college is more like a one-off training. Once you get it, that's it for how many years? And we see how that has, how that has not been very effective in the Nigerian police. And also, I also understand that the mentality, that there's something they call preparedness, to mentally position them where they can actually assimilate that training, which has to do with welfare and all of that. Now, you being a solution provider, what sort of advice will you give to the police going forward on how to, pattern their training to effectively capture their mental states, and also the regular trainings that they need to keep them abreast of what is happening?
Really, the summation of everything is about the welfare. After the training, what? You train someone and you didn't equip. You train someone and is not given, the welfare is not improved. For your information, policemen buy their uniforms. And for you to know that, you see just three policemen. You see 3 different types of shoes on them, 3 different types of trouser material, and 3 different types of shirts on them. That shows the rot and the problems we have in this system. So it's not just about training. Well, we will do the training, but the system refused to take care and to now put in place structures that will make the training to work. When you train somebody, don't beat people, don't harass, don't shoot people. But again, he's leaving home because he has no money to give to the wife. The children have been sent out of school. He has some psychological problems. He gets to the street, he will see the person who has committed one offense or the other. Ordinarily, he should just be left off the hook, but we now want to deal with that person, using him as a scapegoat to let off steam, in some cases, kill, in some cases, maim, in some cases, be hard on them. I have a simple example. I have a client now who is in jail, who is in Kirikiri prison on remand. He got arrested sometime in January. By the time we were able to perfect his bail and so on, February came because I wasn't briefed on time. And before you know it, Corona came. He's still in prison till now because of an offense that he did not even commit, because he just was caught. Somebody did not just like his face because he wore a uniform. So why won't they do that? Because to them, that's the way to get our society. But if the government and the police high command can release their funds, give them better equipment, give them vehicles. Thank God for some public-spirited individuals and governments of the states that have been helping out with some vehicles and some operational activity. If not, those of us who are a little bit older, some few years ago, you see police going in rickety vehicles. And of course, that's not how it should be. In other countries of the world, the police use the best vehicles. So their cars are even supersonic. They are so fast so that they catch up with criminals who are trying to get away. But in Nigeria, I mean, what can a rickety vehicle do? Again, you don't give them all the equipment.
Right. So, Mr. Wale Ogunade, please, what will now be? What will be the solution? Who do we hold accountable? Who is responsible for the fact that the police welfare hasn't been coordinated? Who will be responsible? Because today, quickly, sir, I read in the papers today that the Police Trust Fund boss was saying that he is now asking for the IGP to send a 5-year plan. So are we going to hold the Police Trust Fund responsible, or hold the IGP responsible, or commissioners responsible, or president responsible? Who are we holding responsible for this?
I say I will hold Buhari responsible. He is the commander-in-chief of the country. And by virtue of Section 12 of the 1999 Constitution, the welfare and the security of the people is the full purpose of government, the main purpose of government. And if government has failed in that responsibility, then that is the president's work. He's the one that has appointed the Inspector General of Police. He's the one that has appointed members of the Police Service Commission. And he is the one that will see to it that indeed they carry out the mandate as provided for in the Constitution, so that everybody will see how indeed. All these people, thank God for Corona. If not because of Corona, maybe most of them will be out of the country now. Because they are in the country. In fact, it's good that you have seen this thing. I'm sure if not because of Corona, some of them will be outside the country, so they won't know. So they are testing this thing firsthand to know that indeed the youths are angry because
we have to wrap up.
Because they have refused to.
We have to wrap up with you, sir. But I think that when you hear police reforms, what timelines can we begin to look forward to? Because people are making demands. They want to change now. But with your experience with the police, what kind of timelines can we work with for the reforms to start so that we can even see the changes?
You see, my sister, there is nothing that can be possible. There is nothing. Did it take them time to disband Sars? It was a statement of just a statement. SARS has been disbanded, and that was it. Just as I said earlier on that you are laughing at me, Emefiele, credit the account of all youths. It will be done. All banks in Nigeria, all youths have accounts in all the banks. Just release the amount. When 2, 3, 4 people begin to see their alerts, they know that government has started work.
Sir,
it's as simple as that.
That will not work. That will
you
not
say
work,
what?
sir. That will not work because we've had. Excuse me, sir. We've had.
Possibility. Yeah. Why can't it work?
We have issues where the SARS operatives were found extorting people. So even with that 100,000 you credit into the account, they will lure you to the ATM and take it from you. So that wouldn't work.
We are past that, my sister. The SARS no more exists now. We are past that. We are past that. We are talking of their legitimate income. That's okay.
Okay, Mr. Ogunade, there's another thing that has also aggravated.
The youth will be there, and let them come and kill them.
Yeah. So there's another thing that also.
They have been telling you that what they want is that they want solution.
Okay.
And the solution is that they don't want grammar. They want
action. Point taken. Let me wrap up.
So there's one more thing that has caused the protesters.
They are protesting now. Then they see government officials sitting down. Oh yeah, your name. What is your discipline in school? Chemical engineering.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogunade. Unfortunately, at this point, we have to wrap up. But let me let you through your
Yes, I was just going to say the SARS SWAT thing. You know, that's another thing that's annoying many of the protesters. And I have heard the police say that it's impossible to leave a vacuum. Do you know anything about the SARS SWAT thing? You know, that's another thing that's annoying many of the protesters. And I have heard the police say that it's impossible to leave a vacuum. Do you know anything about just changing a name and then making sure that there's no vacuum while training is going on?
Unfortunately, we won't be able to respond. I have that question answered. I have to run. So thank you very much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you being on the show. We've been speaking with Mr. Wale Ogunade, who is a human rights lawyer, activist, and police trainer. Okay, that's all we can take, ladies. I have a problem with the fact that throwing money at young people will solve the problem. That was in the old times. The young people today, but no, they don't need your money.
Delta State rejected 2 million that was given to them by their governor.
The idea of thought that throwing money at them is going to solve the problem, I think is
Let's do a more holistic reform.
Yeah. That's all we can take. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Can't throw money at